My next guest has been one of the UK's most successful entrepreneurs, and fans of Dragon Den will be very familiar with him. He's the nice one on the left, here to tell us how to start a business in only 7 days. Can you believe it? James Caan, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
And it is 7 days.
7 days from start to finish.
Well, remember, God created the world in 7 days.
And he had a day
you know
off.
What? Why can't we start a business in 7 days?
Aye, well, we could do it in 6, James.
Indeed.
And enjoy Sunday.
I mean, literally, what happened was when I was writing the book, it just made me realise that when I was sitting in Dragon's Den, I met nearly 1,000 entrepreneurs who came into the show. And literally, between the 5 of us, we were able, in about half an hour, to evaluate whether a particular business was going to be successful. So what really inspired me to write the book was if I could share that kind of methodology of looking at an entrepreneur and saying, is this really going to work? And I think so many people out there have got great ideas who want to do something but are just not sure. And what the book is really designed to do is help them evaluate what I think are 2 of the biggest questions that most people have. You know, the first one is it really for me? Am I really an entrepreneur? Is this right for me? And I think what I try and do in the book is share as much of my own experience and people I've met, you know, in business generally, to kind of help them decide, because sometimes, you know what, it probably isn't for them. And then secondly is this idea, is it just a hobby? Is it just passion? Or is it really a business? Because I think if people can really appreciate that and understand whether it's right for them and they're right for business, and the idea has got the commercial viability to be successful, then clearly it's something they have to do.
Now, for someone listening that has got the idea, James, it's the commercial viability, I think, that is the mystery to them, if they've not been in business already themselves. So how can they evaluate that?
And I think that's exactly, I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head. And I think that's what the book takes you through, literally a very detailed journey that transforms what we did in Dragon's Den, which was help analyse and evaluate and know what specific questions should you be asking to determine whether is this something you should do, and more importantly, is it ever going to make any money? And I think that's what Start Your Own Business in 7 Days is really all about.
And is one of those questions, is there any competition? Is there anybody else in the marketplace with this?
I think not only is there any competition, but what is the competition actually doing? What have they got that is different to yours? How does yours compare to theirs from a pricing perspective, from a quality perspective, from a functionality perspective? So I think it's not just, I don't think it's good enough to know if there's competition. I think it's more important to understand as much as you can about your competitor, because ultimately the consumer always has a choice, and we need to make sure that what we've got differentiates ourselves in the market.
And James, you used the word entrepreneur, and a lot of people will imagine, if you're an entrepreneur, you're somebody that's going to be building a fairly sizable company, could even be as large as a multinational. But for some, it's just a small business that they're looking for. You know, it's an idea that they've got that might be commercial enough for them, maybe to employ themselves and some of their family and maybe 1 or 2 other colleagues as well. But did the same business questions apply to both?
I mean, I think obviously if you're building a more substantial business, I mean, I think when I was writing the book, this is not a book about get rich quickly. This is not a book about being the next Richard Branson or the next Google. This is really to kind of define, is this something you should do? And is this something that's ever going to make any money? You know, the concept here is what I'm trying to do is be very practical, very realistic, and just share that learning that I did in Dragon's Den, where, as you can imagine, when you've met over 1,000 people, you can start to determine what really does work and what doesn't. So I think, you know, this is exactly where I think the book comes to life, is when you've got somebody who's kind of in that space thinking, am I ready to start a business? And if so, what should I do? And is it really for me? And if I was to start a business, how much would I need to invest in it? Where would I need to go? This product that I've come up with, how do I actually get it to market? So it's got all the kind of ingredients which were the key challenges that I think people in Dragon's Den, they faced because they were just answers they didn't have.
Now, I've got one final question for you. I don't know if it's a $64,000 question or not, James, but have you put into practice what you're preaching here? Have you started a business and got it up and running and trading in 7 days?
Absolutely.
Well,
absolutely.
What was it?
It was another recruitment business.
Uh-huh. But you had the skills already to run a recruitment business from your own
Absolutely
background.
right. And I think, again, there's a lot of people out there, who are doing something today. They're working in an environment and they're thinking, should I do this for myself? And I think what the book is really about is helping you make that choice and make that decision. That are you ready to make that decision?
Well, hopefully some people are, James, and I, somebody who changed career myself, I don't think people should be afraid of trying, and that a lot of people like yourself say, don't be afraid of failure. It's something that you sometimes have to go through as part of the learning process, or you can short-circuit that and get James's book. Thanks very much for talking to us this morning, James.
Fantastic, thank you.
Good luck with the book.